Hi, Caroline.
Hello, Darren.
Hey, you're looking snazzy today. You dressed up for some reason?
Thank you. No, just, showing off my clothes.
Nice. How long have you had those?
Actually, I know I had this shirt when I was teaching, so it's at least since before 2022.
All right. Well, at least you live what you write. So we're going to talk about that. Today it is titled New Tariffs, Old Treasures.
Yes.
Sounds like a PBS
it does.
show or something. I don't know. I don't know why that's...
I was trying to come up with something
well,
better
I guess it's
than...
New House, Old House or something. I don't know. It just sounds like something like that. But, and I'm just so tired of hearing about tariffs. I'm not saying I don't want you to write this, but
right.
In financial news, it's every day.
Okay, well, I will try not to use the T word.
No, it's because it's... Are you talking about Trump or tariff? No, I'm just kidding.
Both.
All right, so... T is also treasures. Anyway, we'll go ahead. This thing reminded me of that song, I don't know if you remember, by Macklemore. I'm going to pop some tags. Only got $20 in my pocket.
I don't know that one.
I knew you did not listen to that music anyway, so you probably would have turned it off with line 2, which I will not sing here. So,
okay.
Anyway,
fair.
It's a guy going with $20 into a thrift store.
Gotcha.
And that's the name of the song, is thrift store. So that's kind of what we're talking about here.
Exactly.
We've heard enough about the tariffs, and I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon. I think it's going to be probably the remainder of the year, if not longer. And of course, the tariffs cause inflation, whether it's immediate or it's in the future.
Right.
And right now, it's future, especially because what they did, and we've talked about this in our other shows, is they've kind of stocked up. A lot of companies went ahead beforehand to get it in. Yes. Beforehand. Secondhand.
Yes.
Anyway, kind of talk about that, about where people might be now going to buy their clothes.
Right. So more than half of our clothing and shoes here in the U.S. comes from China, Vietnam, and Bangladesh, which, as we know, have gotten hit with some tariffs. And so, if you need new clothes, you might be, instead of buying new, you might be more tempted to go to a secondhand store.
There you go.
And do a little bit of thrifting. All major suppliers, bring stuff into the U.S., so they're facing these hikes. And some companies are saying, "Oh, we're going to eat the cost," but I'm right. So I'm expecting those costs to be passed on to consumers. And really, this whole secondhand shopping thing, it's really been going since even before these tariffs were announced. Over the last few years, there's been an increase.
People are having a tough time right now. Their budgets are strained.
Right.
They've maxed their credit cards out. And there's only so many stores that'll accept buy now, pay later, which is what people are going to.
Right.
To make it even worse.
I think that was in another one of our shows that you talked about that.
Yes.
And so, there are a lot of advantages to buying secondhand, not just the money cost, but environmental costs and things as well. But then you also have the fast fashion industry where clothes are made.
That's the first time I've heard that, fast fashion.
Oh, it's the first time you've heard that?
Yes.
Oh, but before you started working here, I did a little series on fast fashion and kind of some of the environmental and just the personal cost to the workers in other countries and things like that. So you'll have to go back and find those. And just the clothing is not made to the same high quality standards as people are used to from, back in the day. They really don't make them like they used to.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the clothing is, you can only wear it a few times before it doesn't wash well or falls apart or, gets a hole or whatever. And so people like it because it's cheaper, but then it doesn't last as long. So it can end up, but according to ThredUp, which is one of the online clothing resale places, they expect the resale market to grow by 9% annually, reaching $74 billion, billion with a B, by 2029. And so that's a lot of money looking into secondhand purchasing for clothing.
Well, we're not supposed to say the R word or the D word, but I think if recession is going to happen or depression happens, then you will
for sure
certainly experience that. I think you'll see yard sales, estate sales, people going to that on Saturdays.
Yes.
And some of the ones that I think of are Plato's Closet, Goodwill, Salvation Army, And then you mentioned the Poshmark and ThreadUp.
Right. And, for kids, once upon a child, I shop there for my son, especially as fast as he's growing.
Yep.
The pants I bought him in August are already, up to his ankles. So he's got to get more pants before May.
Yep.
The end of the school year. One thing I thought interesting in looking, I found so many numbers and data. And, I love that. I tried to back off on it too much. But one thing that I really found interesting was that 83% of Gen Z consumers either have purchased or are interested in purchasing secondhand apparel. And 64% of them will look for a secondhand item before buying it new. And so that was 83% and 64% with Gen Z. But then the older generations are less likely to do that. And so consumers aged 55 to 64, not even 12% of them look for secondhand buying. So
wow.
I thought it was interesting, just kind of, and just as the consumer aged, that looking for secondhand really decreased. It was sharp.
They're wealthier too.
It was sharp to me. Or, yeah.
And so they'll buy new.
Or maybe they're not looking.
Don't buy anything at all. They just
right. They keep wearing the same, five things they have,
right.
Which is okay too.
Sure. Because you said it's budget and environmental friendly for that.
Yes.
For new clothes not to have to be made. It's not great for the economy, but it's good for environmental and our own personal budgets for the 80% of us who aren't just walking around throwing away around money everywhere.
Right.
Or
yes.
It could be 90%, but
yes.
Was there anything else you wanted to add to that?
Just the generational thing was very interesting to me. Mm-hmm. And just the rate of consumption for clothing is really high. Again, we mentioned the fast fashion. I thought it was interesting as well. According to a 2023 study, there was a Swedish charity. This particular article that I got this from was talking about kind of secondhand globally. So a Swedish charity had to pay to have 70% of their donated items burned because they were too low quality or too damaged to be resold.
Yikes.
And so you really need to think about, when you're buying things, not only how will I wear them, but if I pass them on, can they be resold? And that just floored me that they had to pay to have 70%. That's not a small percent. That's almost 3/4 of what's donated they had to pay to have burned.
Wow.
And so just,
I guess materials and that, or it's just old, or it's just the way it was threading. I mean, there's so many things that could make it
didn't go into
unwearable.
To why, but yes,
sure,
there was that much of it.
Well, that's awesome. I'll close it up by saying that, Prince was fond of that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you remember Raspberry Beret.
I mean, yes.
But it was the kind that you find in a secondhand store.
Right, yes, it was. Yes,
I love to have an excuse to sing, but I'm not going to do that one.
Oh, you're not going to sing that one? You sang earlier.
I do sing that one, yes, but no, I will not.
Okay.
But thanks for bringing that in, and maybe we'll see you in a Goodwill this weekend.
Absolutely.
Talk to you later.
Bye.